Hi friends, welcome to the Inspired Knitting Podcast. I'm your host Bobby and I am coming to you from Kingston, Ontario, Canada. Today is Saturday, May 27th, 2023. I would first like to start off by welcoming any new viewers who may be tuning in for the very first time. Welcome, and to my returning viewers, welcome back. This is a podcast all about my knitting adventures and crochet, and there is crochet again today. I'm super excited about that. And there is spinning as well, although I haven't given that any love of late either, but I really want to get back to it. So yeah, a lot of fibery content. So if that's your thing, then maybe this is the podcast for you. So yeah, I am drinking coffee today. So grab your beverage of choice, grab your knitting or even your crochet, and let's have a little chit chat. So I almost didn't podcast. It's been 2 weeks since the last. I had a little bit of setback with my knitting, and yeah, it took up a good portion of my knitting time. So I didn't feel like I had a lot to talk about today, but I decided to roll with it. I do have some finished objects. One is knitting and the other ones are crochet. And I do have some works in progress to share with you. So we're just gonna roll with it. So to fill in a little bit of the time, I brought over a bag of yarn. It's a dream project that I would like to cast on. Not soon, but it's just something to fill in case the podcast runs a bit short, but it's something that I am dreaming about and I'm super excited about. So I thought I would bring that along to share with you guys as well. So yeah, not much has been going on. It's been pretty quiet. We did have some cool rainy weather, and now summer, it feels like summer is coming in full force. Today is a warm, sunny day, and next week we're supposed to be coming into like 30 degrees Celsius weather. So she's gonna be pretty hot. So I am wearing a shawl today. This will not last very long because it's already pretty warm. So I'm trying to get as much wear out of my shawls as I can. But yeah, I love it. I love summer, so I am not complaining at all. So yeah. But yeah, it's been pretty quiet. I did have a little bit of knitting setback, which I will talk about in works in progress. But yeah, it's been pretty good. We had the May 2-4 long weekend. Last weekend passed, and it was a quiet one. We went and spent some time with some family, and that was really nice. So yeah, all around it was it's been a pretty good 2 weeks. So, but not too much to report. I have a very quiet life and I like it that way. I'm not an exciting person at all, but that's okay. Coffee. Gotta have your coffee. All right, so I'm gonna start off with I'm gonna start off with what I'm wearing. So today I pulled out my Sweet Serenity shawl. This is a pattern that was designed by Patty of the Forest City Knit Girls. And if you do not know their podcast, do check them out. They are wonderful. It's Patty and June are sisters, and their friend Carrie. They are in London, Ontario, Canada, and very wonderful people. I really love their podcast, and they also have a few designs as well, and I really love them. So it's a very simple, it's a triangle shawl, and it has some eyelets and this gorgeous lace section, which is very simple, and it does come into the coral as well. This one was so much fun to do. I really enjoyed it. So this one was a 2 skein fingering weight, and I used the Northern Pearl. I don't remember what the colorway names are, but this one here, you can see it pulls out the kind of the corally colors. So beautiful. I really love it. Angel always does beautiful work. So yeah, my sweet Serenity shawl for City Knit Girls. Do go over and check them out. I love this one. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing. Now onto finished objects. So I'm gonna say over the winter time, and I'm not sure exactly why, but I wasn't really watching my knitting podcasts. So I've been having a little bit more, trying to take out more time out of my schedule just to sit down, relax, watch a podcast, because that's like my favorite thing to do. And I've been catching up with some of my favorites. And one of those is the We Share Needles podcast. Maddie and Kristen, they are in Arkansas, and wonderful podcast. I really love those girls. They're upbeat and they're funny, and yeah, I just love watching them. It always like kicks you into high gear. I love it. So anyways, from catching up, I realized that Kristen had a baby, and that is so exciting. And yeah, I think she just had her baby in early April. And so what they were doing was they were going to put together a community project of squares. So I'm going to actually share those first, because that's what I'm telling you about. So Kristen and Maddie have put together, it's a crocheted square, and it's called the Daisy and the Bluebird blanket. So it is crocheted. And here's one of the squares here. So it has like this daisy flower in the middle, and then it's like a granny square. Super, super cute and so simple. So it is a DK weight pattern. And yeah, you can crochet up a square or several squares, and they don't really care about the colors. Just they want different ones, random ones, and then you can send them into them, and it'll be put into this blanket for Kristen's baby. And I really wanted to make some because I really love their podcast, and I'm so excited for Kristen. I love baby stuff. I've always enjoyed crocheting and knitting baby stuff. They're just so adorable. Oh, I love it. So because it's DK, I went through all my fingering weight scraps and minis, and I just pulled together a bunch of random colors that I thought would work. So they did ask if you could do 3 colors. So I just chose 3 different fingering weights, and then I just held them double. So I cannot tell you what the yarns are. I'm not sure. So the purple here, actually I can tell you what this yarn is. The middle color and the daisy are Northern Pearl, and then the outside here, I'm not 100% sure, but I did double strand 2 different, two different purples, so like a lilac purple and a slightly darker purple. So I marled those together. So I got that square, and then I did this one because Kristen loves her bright colors, and I'm pretty certain that the white is Northern Pearl. It's just a pure white. And then these 2, I'm 100% I know this one is Polka Dot Creek, but I'm pretty sure this is one of hers as well. So I did that one. And then I did this one. I really love this one. I'm not 100% sure on these colorways. I think the outside color here is Lichen and Lace. I'm pretty certain of that. And then the last one, I did this one. So the this color here, like the daisy, that is Polka Dot Creek. And I am not sure on the teal color. The teal color might be a Northern Pearl, not sure. But yeah, so I've made 4 of them. So I'm going to wash them and block them just before I send them out. So oh, they're so cute and I love them. So I hope they will work well. This was a lot of fun to do. It's actually a nice little way to introduce myself back into crochet. I started off as a crocheter, like, I think it was like 12, maybe 12 years ago or more. I started off as a crocheter before I became a knitter. And then once I became a knitter, I became obsessed with it. So I don't really gravitate towards crochet anymore, but it's so much fun. And it was really cool just to take some time out and make these squares because they're so freaking adorable. And to do blankets, I prefer to crochet than to knit. So yeah. So the square pattern is a free pattern. It is Daisy and the Bluebird, and you can find the pattern on Ravelry. The designer's name is Bluebirds and Daisy. I will put it across the screen here, and I'll also have it linked below, but it is a free pattern, and she does, it's written very well, and she does have like pictures to the different steps, very easy. So I really love that. And if you are a type of person that is a visual learner, like you can't read from a pattern, you can actually go over to YouTube, search the Crochet Crowd, Mikey, and he has a daisy crocheted square that is very similar to this. It's also free, but you can follow his video and you can make the square as well. It's pretty much the same pattern. I think his uses like a worsted weight, but one of the beautiful things about if you're doing a blanket, you don't necessarily have to use the same hook size or the same yarn that the pattern says or the video says. You can use whatever you want. If you want to use fingering weight, you just adjust your hook size to that yarn to get the kind of gauge that you wish. So that's one of the beautiful things about crochet and blankets. You can make it, you can customize it to your own. So yeah, if you're a visual learner, Crochet Crowd, Michael Selleck, it's how I learned. I love the guy. I want to meet the guy, and I will one day. But yes, free tutorial as well. So if you're a visual learner, there is an option out there. Because when I first started crochet, I could not read a pattern to save my life. And I felt that I learned from Michael, the Crochet Crowd, and I also learned from Claire Wilson. At the time, her YouTube was going under Bob Wilson 123. But I believe now she has changed it to Crochet with Claire. I'm not 100% certain of that, but those were the two that I always gravitated towards, and there was a couple others as well, but I could not read a pattern, so to have their videos posted to YouTube how to do these things, it was amazing and I loved it. Unfortunately, with knitting, there wasn't a lot of videos when I was starting to learn on how to do things, but there was videos like how to do certain stitches and that. Very Pink Knits, Stacy, she was one that I learned that was for knitting. So she always had like technique videos and such. So there are options out there, and it really does help because I'm a self-taught, and those videos, they really, really help. So yeah, that was a bit of a tangent, but yeah, I like to share that because just because I make beautiful things doesn't mean that, you know, it started off all roses. It did not. And I still have problems to this day. So never give up. Never give up. All right, so my next finished object is a pair of baby socks. So I wanted to make a little pair of baby socks because I love baby knits to send to Kristen as well. So I made these little cuties here. This is the Perfect Baby Sock pattern by Tabitha Gandee. And there is two versions in the pattern. It is a paid for pattern, I believe. But you can do a ribbed sock or you can do cables. So I chose to do the cabled ones because I love cables. And they're so stinking cute. They got a little heel flap and gusset. I love them. I don't know what the yarn is. This is just a mini skein that I pulled from my my basket. Did not use very much yarn at all. I would have to weigh these to see, but they're so cute. So I put those, I'm gonna put those in the package as well. So this was a lot of fun. I really liked it. And these sockies are like amazing. They don't take no time at all to knit up. Yeah, they're cute. Oh, it's fingering weight yarn. I didn't really say that, but they're so cute. I love them. So Perfect Newborn Socks, Tabitha Gandee. She also has several other like adult sock patterns as well. So the next thing I have to share with you is actually a hoe, and then I will go on into a works in progress. So I managed to finish one sock in the last 2 weeks. I don't remember if I had these casted on. I'm pretty sure I did. But there's a lady here in Kingston that she's just a very beautiful person, and she's allergic to wool. She is a knitter and a crocheter, but she's never mastered the art of socks. So I went to Michael's and I found some loops and threads wool-like. So it is an acrylic nylon blend. And I just picked out a white color, which I believe is just white and charcoal. And I'm knitting her a pair of socks. She does not know, but, and I know she don't watch, so I'm going to gift these to her because she's very deserving. So nothing special, it's just a 2x2 rib. I don't even know how many rows I did, so maybe 16 rows, and then 6 rows of gray, 4 rows of the white, and then 6 rows of gray. And I'm doing a slip stitch, heel flap and gusset, normal toe. They're beautiful and I love them. The yarn is very soft. I did 64 stitches on a 2mm needle. Yeah, I really like them. And I actually tried it on just to see, and they're not bad for acrylic. They're really nice. Like I said, it's super, super soft. So if you have an allergic reaction or you're sensitive to wool, then maybe check this out. It's called wool-like, but there's no wool in it. And it has the nylon, so it should hold up rather well. The only thing I would say about it is I always knit on chagus, which are like a metal needle. The yarn is very slippery. So I would probably, if I was to knit another pair, I would probably knit them on wooden needles, just so there's a bit of stickiness and they wouldn't. I find that I don't like really taking these in the vehicle to go anywhere, because knitting on the road, you got bumps in that, and the stitches, they just fall off. If you're just sitting stationary somewhere, no bumps or anything, they even want to fly off your needles. So maybe that's something to consider if you were to do it. I'm just using my chagus because it's what I have. I don't really have wooden needles. I do have some in DPNs, but knitting with DPNs now feels like pulling teeth. I always knit my socks on DPNs, but once I learn how to magic loop, no, I prefer to knit on magic loop now. But yeah, chagu does have wooden needles. Unfortunately, my local yarn store, she's out of the wooden ones, but maybe I'll consider buying a pair of 2mm in the future. But that's just my personal preference. I find the yarn to be pretty slippery, but otherwise it doesn't have any issues with splitting or anything like that. It's a very nice yarn, so I really like it. So there's that one. Each skein has like 400 and some yards per ball. They're pretty hefty balls for a fingering weight. So what I think I'm gonna do, I'm gonna knit these ones for my friend, and then I'm gonna knit myself a pair in gray for the main body and white for the stripes. I think I should have more than enough yarn to accomplish that and still have leftovers. So I got one done, and the bag fell on the floor and I am not going to attempt to get it, but I have the second one started. So I have the leg knit and I am on to like the decreasing. I did the heel flap and I'm on the decreasing part for the gusset. So the second one is getting close to completion. So I got that going. And then I'm just gonna show you the socks first, so none of this is in order. The next pair I have in, I guess you could say this is a finished object. I made this bag this past week. I sewed one of these bags for Agel when she came down for her birthday. So I went to Fabricland and I found this cute gnome fabric. It's these little gnome owls. And I thought it was so cute. And they're in Agel's colors. She loves the teals. She loves oranges. And I just thought it was perfect. And I love it too. So I made her a bag. Hers has like a teal zipper and the orange inside. So that's what mine has. And except my zipper is blue. I'm just using what I got. And then this is new, but I'm trying it out. I've included the little D-ring inside so you can put your notions on it, so you know you don't have to dig for them in the bottom of your bag. And I also have my Knitsies enamel pin from Knox Mountain Knit Co. that Agel gave to me when she came down. Love it. So yeah. In this bag, I have a new sock cast on. So as I keep alluding, I've had a little bit of stress in the last 2 weeks with one of my knits, and I just came to a plateau with it the other night, and I needed to cast on something new. So that being socks, because socks are stress-free to me and they're a great palette cleanser. I love them. So I ended up picking up 2 skeins of Koigu from my local yarn store, the Pearl & J, which, by the way, Pearl & J is celebrating their 1-year anniversary for their brick and mortar. The Pearl & J was established in 2013, I believe. They had a yarn truck, a red yarn truck, and just a year ago, she opened up a brick and mortar store. So this is their 1-year anniversary. I'm not going. I'm not going. Today is a day where I'm just relaxing at home by myself. I'm going to film and then edit and watch some podcasts and knit. So it's going to be a quiet day, but yeah, I'm really happy and excited for her, but I'm gonna sit this one out. But it is her 1-year anniversary, so happy anniversary if you're watching. So anyways, I picked up these 2. This is Koigu. This is their Koigu Premium Merino KPM, and this is in the turquoise color. And then this one is, I love this one. This is in the Nomad colorway. Really, really love it. So I thought I would pick out contrast. So they're only 50-gram balls. So I do heels, cuffs, heels, and toes in the contrast. And then I do the other 50-gram for the main color. And that usually gives me a pair of socks. So the only thing about this yarn, I think I touched on it before, but I will again. This yarn does not have nylon in it. So it is, let me see here. Of course I picked the one with the broken tag, but it doesn't matter. So it's 100% merino wool, 50 grams, 175 yards. So when I was at the Pearl & J about a month ago, there was a lady in there, and I'm sorry, I don't remember your name if you're watching, but we were talking about the Koigu. I've knit with Koigu before, but never for socks. And recent experience knitting with 100% merino, it blew the heel out of a pair of socks. So she said that she knit a pair of socks in the koigu and she hasn't worn them that much, but so far they're holding up really well. And she thinks the reason being is because the koigu has a very high twist, which gives it more durability. So the verdict is still out whether they will hold up. But my advantage of being in a wheelchair is that I don't walk on them. So I don't really put the stress on the heels as somebody walking would. So, and I'm sure that my best friend, I'm sure he'll want to steal these and wear them too, which is fine. But I'm gonna give it a go and see how it goes. Koigu has a lot of beautiful colorways and I want to try them out. So we're gonna give this a go and see. So these are the two colors that I picked out. And I have decided to cast on the Follow Your Path socks. This is a pattern by Kay, the Crazy Sock Lady. So I've done my cuff and I am following to pattern. I cast it on 64 stitches, a 2mm Chagu magic loop. So I'm following to pattern and it's really cool. It's a simple 4-row repeat and it has like this beautiful little ribbed cable. Super, super simple. And I just love that nomad colorway. That is so beautiful. And my progress keeper there is Grizzlie Knits, who is Tracy. Hi, Tracy. She is a Canadian maker and I absolutely love it. I can't remember, this was, I think it was called I Heart Socks. I can't remember, but it came with some stitch markers as well. I'm just gonna see if I have them in this bag. I don't, oh, I think I do. I think I do. So this is one of them, but there was another one as well. I really love Tracy's work. So yeah, Tracy also has just recently done a collaboration with Nitty Natty, and she has done another Progress Keeper set. It's got a seashell and it's almost like a little pearl, like white pearl with blue beads on it, or teal beads. So beautiful. So of course I had to snag a set up yesterday. So do go over to Grizzlie Knits on Instagram, and if you go into her profile, it will link you to her Etsy. And as of yesterday, there was still some available. And I think Tracy said that if it sells out, she's going to take a limited number of like pre-orders for the set as well. So do go check her out and give her some love. Tracy's work is beautiful. I have several of her sets and I am obsessed. I love them. So yeah, absolutely love it. I love this pattern, Follow Your Path by Crazy Sock Lady. Crazy Sock Lady is going to be starting, I think it's June 1st, her annual summer sock camp, which is a free thing. You just knit socks. I think it goes until, I think it's the second week of August, and there's always different groups that you can join if you knit on Magic Loop, if you knit on DPN, Cirques. It's just a fun little knit along, and you can use any pattern, but I believe you get double entries if you use one of Kay's patterns. So this is not for summer sock camp. I can't remember if whips are welcome. I don't think so. I think you cast on June 1st, but go over to Crazy Sock Lady's podcast and you will have all the details. But this is not for summer sock camp. This is just what I'm doing. But I do plan to knit for summer sock camp because lately all I want to do is socks. They just seem to be my comfort zone of late. So yeah, there's those. I'm having a lot of fun with those. So the leg is finished. I'm about to do the heel, which I believe, if I follow pattern, which I will, I think it's an Aya Partridge heel, which is a lot of fun. I haven't done that one in a while, but I'm excited to do that one again. It's a very pretty one, and it is very structured, so it makes your heels last a bit longer. Okay, so my next one. So this is another new cast on. I just casted it on this morning. So when Agile come down for her birthday, we want to do all the matchy things, and she loves knitting socks as well. So I had picked up, I think this was back in March, the Pearl and Jay always does a maker of the month, and the maker of the month was Yarn Indulgence. So I end up picking us up 2 skeins of zebra yarn. So this beautiful cake here, and neither me or Angel has knit with zebra yarn before, or at least I haven't. And I'm really excited to see how this works up. So I'm just gonna share, I think I shared it on the last podcast in Stash Enhancement, but doesn't matter. It says wool and knit, what you imagine, which, like I said, is Yarn Indulgences. It is on her sock marl, which is an 80% super fine superwash merino, 20% wool, and the colorway is called Teal Zeal. And then there's the front. So I picked that colorway up for us, and it is a 100-gram skein, but Angel dyed us up a little mini skein to go with it, which is black, which I think is gonna offset it so beautifully. So we decided to cast on the sock this morning, and this is what I have so far. So I don't have very much, but I did 64 stitches. I am knitting these on a 2.25 millimeter, because that's honestly all I have right now for sock needles. The rest are taken up. So I casted on 64 stitches, 2x2 ribbing. I did 14 rows for the cuff, and now I'm just starting into the teal. And let me see here. I think yeah, you can see the zebra striping happening there. So because I've knit so many socks, we're just gonna do plain vanilla socks. So something I've learned for myself, knitting on Magic Loop, I used to knit on a 2.25 DPN for my socks, and they were perfect. Going to Magic Loop, my gauge is looser, so I started knitting with a 2 millimeter. So if I'm doing a rib sock, 64, I go between 64 stitches and 60 stitches. And then when I get to the foot, I decrease down to 56 stitches, because I would rather have the foot a little bit of negative ease. I need the positive ease for my, my ankles, but I want the negative ease for my foot. I don't want the sock so baggy. So because this is vanilla and I'm using a 2.25, I chose to do 64 stitches for my cast on. When I changed to the teal here, I've decreased down to 56 stitches, because it's vanilla, and it means that my gauge is going to be looser, so the sock is going to be looser and too big. So I play around with my numbers a lot, and I try to mark it down so the second sock is the same, but I know you don't really see that in patterns, but don't be afraid to do it. For so long, I was like, I need to follow a pattern. Like, if you cast on 64, you got to do 64. No, you don't. If you're doing a textured pattern or something like that, you probably would have to follow it because, you know, your repeats of your stitch pattern. But if you're just doing ribbing or vanilla, play around with the numbers, because why have a sock that's either going to be too big or too loose, like too big or too tight? So that's what I'm doing. I casted on 64. I've decreased down to 56. And yeah, I'm just going to do plain vanilla, and then I'll do my heel and my toes in the black as well. So I'm super excited to work on these a bit more because I want to see how the zebra yarn works up. From what I've seen, it looks really, really cool. So that is another sock that I'm working on. These are going to be matchy with Angel. I think she did her cuff a little bit longer than me though, but that's okay. So there's that one. And that's it for the socks. Yes, that is. So the only other project that I worked on in the last 2 weeks is the next one, and it's my test knit shawl. So I casted on the Dixie Creek shawl, which is in testing right now. It is knit by Emily of the Salt City Knits podcast. And if you're not familiar, Emily co-hosted with her sister Deborah of Meanwhile at the Castle, and they each have their own separate podcasts currently. And I was binge watching Emily's podcast. I love Emily. She is amazing. I love Deborah too. They're both amazing. I just feel that I click with Emily, like her colors, her aesthetic, everything. I just click with her so much. And yeah, she recently designed it's called the Dixie Creek shawl. It's a triangle shawl, but what I love about it is that this shawl, the triangle goes deep and the wingspan is shorter. The Dixie Creek shawl, the wingspan is longer. So I'm a bigger girl and wearing this shawl is fine, but as you see, my tails are, they don't come down very far. I don't like my shawls like too tight against my neck. I like wearing them kind of loosey-goosey. So if I don't have my shawl cuffs with me today, but I have to wear the shawl with a shawl cuff if I want this shawl to stay in place. If I'm moving about, it is gonna fall off my neck. The shawl cuff will help keep it in place. So I have no issue at all with the shawl, but I love Emily's shawl so much because that wingspan is longer, which means when I put it on, it ain't going anywhere. So I was very, very intrigued by that, and just the design itself is beautiful. So I did share this with you guys on the last podcast. So it's come to a bit of a standstill. So it's no issue of the pattern at all. Full disclosure, I have problems with anxiety and depression, and I'm gonna say it has nothing to do with the shawl. The past 2 weeks have been trying ones for me. I'm fine, but they've just been trying ones for me, and trying to do lace with so much in my brain, it just was not working. So I had a couple times, you knew on the last podcast, from the last podcast, that I wasn't looking at the pattern. So here it is. Here it is. It's not finished. I just have it off the needles. I'll talk about that in a moment. But from the last podcast, the plain section here where you do the garter and the stockinette, I presumed I knew what I was doing, which was really stupid, and I knit each of these sections too short. So I had to rip that back and I had to re-knit it, which is proper now. And then I made sure my stitch count was correct. I started the lace. I messed up the lace repeat here, and I had to rip it back 6 rows. And now I ran out of yarn. So Emily said that the shawl definitely uses 2 full skeins of fingering and more. So I already knew that. However, somehow I thought that I have 2 skeins of this colorway, which is Polka Dot Creek and the Berry Mountain colorway. The charcoal is Richard DeVries in the charcoal colorway. So I don't know, somehow I figured, well, Emily did all one color for her shawl. So I knew I wouldn't have enough because I only got 2 skeins of this. And I wanted to do the lace in a contrast, and she said that was okay if we wanted to play with color. So I thought it would be absolutely stunning. I love black, I love lace, so I thought it would be absolutely stunning, and it is. So I don't know, somehow in my mind I thought, well, if I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna have enough yarn out of 1 skein to do it, and I don't. So I was so stressed about it because the deadline for the test knit is coming up this week, and I want to be punctual about it. Like, I want to have it done in time, but unfortunately it's not going to happen. I did manage to find another skein of the Richard DeVries in the charcoal colorway. I was very lucky. I found it at a yarn store in Owen Sound, so I have ordered it and it's coming, but probably won't get here till like Tuesday or Wednesday. So I do have time probably to finish this thing, but I sent Emily a message and she was so gracious about it. So if you're watching, Emily, thank you so much, and I'm sorry. I really wanted to have it done in time, but she told me not to stress, and I won't. But this is what I have so far, and you guys, it's so beautiful. I love everything about it. So the reason why I took it off is my cable was a bit too short, so it was kind of scrunched up and I lost some of my stitches. So I just took it all off, and I think what I want to do is I want to rip back my lace a little bit because I did drop stitches. And if you're familiar with lace, if you drop in lace, there's yarn overs and all that. So I'm almost tempted to actually rip like the whole thing back, and when the new skein comes in, it's going to be a 100-gram skein, I'll just recast on the lace with that, just in case the colorway is slightly different, because it is hand-dyed yarn, so the dye lot might not exactly be the same. So I'm wondering if I should play it safe that way. I'm not sure yet, but I'm thinking I'm going to rip all this back and just reknit it. That way I can make sure that everything is on track with the pattern and such. But I absolutely love it. So yeah, I'm really sad about that. I'm just going to take this off for a minute because it is off the needles. But I tried it on the other night and I just, oh my God, it's not even done yet, but it's incredible. So you can see what I mean. Like, it's not even finished yet. I still have like 8 rows of lace to add to this, plus it's got a picot border, which I'm gonna do like in the main colorway, I think. So it doesn't matter because we're allowed to do what we want. I only have like maybe a gram left of this colorway from the first skein. So what I'm contemplating on doing is actually maybe doing my border in the same colorway, so the charcoal, so it'll be a fresh skein, a brand new skein. So I think I might want to do that, which is another reason why I would want to rip back all of this. That way I can give her the correct amount of yardage or grams that I used. But I'm thinking I'll do the lace section and then just go right into the picot border with the gray, rather than opening up a brand new skein of this just to take out enough to do a border. We'll see, I'm not sure yet. But as you can tell, it's a very beautiful shawl, and you can see what I mean about the longer wingspan. It's incredible, I love it. So I am super, super excited about this shawl to be done. Like I said, it's no fault of the shawl at all. It's actually very enjoyable. The lace is relatively easy. I say that, I have worked lace before, but it's one of those repeats that you pay attention to the front, like your beginning, when you get towards your spine here on either side, and the end, just to make sure that you're keeping your pattern in line. But it's one of those repeats that as soon as you get started, you can just keep going. You don't have to keep referring to the pattern. Like, it's very, very simple. And then you have your rest rows on the wrong side where it's just purl. So it is very easy lace. It's just that my brain is going in a million different directions right now, and trying to deal with that and doing lace, not so good, but it is what it is. So I'm super excited about this. Thank you again, if you're watching, Emily, for being so gracious. Once my yarn comes in, I will definitely get this completed so I can promote your gorgeous pattern, because it deserves all the love. So the deadline is for the end of the month, like the end of May. I think Emily is looking for an early June release date, so do be on the checkout for that. As I said, Salt City Knits over on Instagram. And yeah, it's definitely a beautiful shawl, but you will definitely need 2 skeins of fingering and a bit. So yeah, I also have another Grizzlie Knits Progress Keeper on here. I absolutely love the rock gemstones. They're just so beautiful. I love them. So that's another one of Tracy's. So yeah, that is my Dixie Creek shawl by Emily Clausen. Love it. It's still in testing. So I love it. This has been my main focus and attention. Hence why I didn't have a lot done. And you can see this is all I got left. Definitely not enough. So you can always hack any pattern. So if you want to follow to her pattern, which makes it bigger, which I love my shawls big, so I want it as big as what she has written it. If you wanted to get away with doing 2 skeins of yarn, I'm pretty certain that you could. So if you, for this bottom lace section, I don't want to give anything away in the pattern, and I will not, but you could shorten this lace section up. If you were to shorten the lace section up by doing the first repeat of it and not doing the second part of the repeat, you could probably go right into your border and have enough yardage. I don't know, because I have not done it, but I would say that you would probably have enough yarn to do so. So if you wanted to make it a 2 skein project, it wouldn't be as big as the her finished product, but you could probably get away with it if you only did the first repeat of the lace. So I think it would be like the width of this section up here, maybe a little bit bigger. But I think you could probably get away with 2 skeins if you did that, if you shorten this section up. That's just a theory. I don't know, but I think it could be done. I could have probably done that, but I don't want to, because like I said, I want it to be bigger, and this is a test knit, so I want to do it to pattern to give her the correct information. But it could be done. Like I said earlier, you don't have to exactly follow a pattern. You can hack it and do your own thing. Do what works for you. So, my Dixie Creek shawl, there's that. So that's all I have for finished objects and works in progress. So the knitting portion is now done. So I'm going to share with you now my dream knitting. So if that's not something that you're interested in, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in a couple weeks. But if you are interested, stay tuned. Okay, so I brought over a big bag of yarn. I have also been catching up on one of my favorite podcast ever, which is Cozy Up Knits. And as always, the girls are always enablers. Every time I watch their podcast, I see something new that I want to cast on and knit. And one of those things is the City Limits sweater by Tana, I believe it's Tana's Fiber Arts. So it is I believe it's a fingering held with mohair sweater, and you do a faded sequence. So Jamie and Katie, and I believe Sarah is doing one as well. They have knit them and they are beautiful. And I kept looking at it and I thought to myself that, well, maybe I need one. So I've kind of gone through my stash. I haven't made a solid decision yet, but I ended up picking up some Alpaca Whisper by Estelle. It's like a Surrey alpaca. It's baby alpaca, super kid mohair, and mulberry silk. And it is, let me see here, 400 meters to a 50 gram. And let me see here. I think the colorway is called Linen. So I love mohair, and recently I knit my DRK cowl in Surrey, and I actually really like it. I am sensitive around my neck to anything that's too scratchy or itchy, and I'm not 100% sure yet, but I think this is a little bit better than mohair for me. It is super, super soft and it doesn't feel too scratchy. So this is gonna be what I hold the fingering weight with. So the only thing is that with the Estelle Whisper, it is a little bit thicker than mohair, obviously, but it's so floofy. It's so beautiful. So I'm gonna hold that. And I picked out two different sets here, and I'm not quite sure which one I want to do. So the first set that I picked out is purples. So I believe I still haven't purchased the pattern. I haven't looked at it yet, but just going off what Jamie and Katie did, I'm pretty sure that I could get away with 4 skeins of fingering weight yarn. So I would like to do the faded sequence as well. So I picked out these 3 to start with for the purples. So this one is Midnight Cravings, and these are all from Stash. So this is in the Everscent colorway. So it's like a lilac base with all these speckles in it. And this is on their light sock, which is an 85 superwash merino, 15% nylon. So I have that one. And then I also have Tina's Twisted Fibers, which is in her Iris Garden colorway, which is also lilac. And then it's got those hints of like copper in it. And it's sparkle. I don't think my camera, yeah, I think my camera's picking it up. So I have that one. And then I pulled this one out too because it has the copper in it as well. It's also Midnight Cravings, and this is City of Bridges. So it's City of Bridges is a gray base, but I feel definitely these two because I'm terrible with putting fades together, but being held with the white alpaca, I think it might blend, I'm not sure. But I have these 3 to start with. And then maybe for the bottom of the sweater, I think I have a color, like it could be like this type color. So I could pull out that for the bottom of the sweater and make it dark. I think I have another Midnight Cravings, I think it's called Copper Penny, and if I don't, then I have a Cozy Posy one that is like that colorway as well. So kind of on the purples with this one. And then the second one that I pulled out is kind of pinks, which I'm fine with either colors. It doesn't really matter to me. And I'm not sure why I pulled that one out. Okay, one second here. So for this one here, I got this fade, which is more of the pinks. So the first one is To the Max, which is now Frankie's Fibers, which is Tracy from the Grocery Girls. So this is on her Sparkle mini sock set. So the main skein is not sparkle, it's just the contrast that is. And this was on her Strawberry Pie colorway. And I love strawberry rhubarb pie. I love strawberry shortcake as well, so it was perfect. So I got that one, so obviously I wouldn't use the mini, but that's fine. And then I also have Lichen in Lace. And this one here is, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that name, so I'm not gonna butcher it. And it's got like, it's falling apart a bit there, but you can see those dark burgundy colors. And then this one is Polka Dot Creek, and this one was in her Pearl 2 Together set. This did have a mini that came with it, and I stifed it already, but I think this is one of her older tags. I got it a couple years ago. There's actually two minis that came with this. It was Silver and Sea Spray, but like I said, I already stifed those out of it. But it's very pretty. And then the last one is this one here, which is all dyed up. She's a local dyer. Diane has beautiful colorways. Hi Diane, if you're watching. And this is Wine of Mine, which is like perfect because I love my wine and I love the color. This is so me. So they're just random ones that I'm pulling from my skein. I'm trying to use up my stash as much as I can. And yeah, I just pulled these ones out. Nothing is concrete yet, but it's just something that I'm thinking about. And I think out of the two, this one might be my option. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm not quite sure. I'm liking this one a little bit more than I am the purples, but I don't know. I don't want the white to really mute this out because this is already pretty light. So maybe it would work better with the purples. I'm not sure yet. What do you guys think? Which one do you like, the purples or the pinks? Not quite sure. But it's just a dream project that I would like to cast on one day, hopefully this year. I have my Turtle Dove is an active sweater whip, so I would like to have that off the needles before I cast on a new sweater. But yeah, it's just, I saw Jamie and Katie's sweaters and they are just so beautiful. And out of all my sweaters and my cardigans, my mohair ones are my favorite. And like I said, the Surrey seems a little bit more better for my skin. So I am like super excited to try a sweater. It's a pullover. I'm super excited to try a pullover in Surrey. So yeah, and it's a great way to stash bust too. So that's my dream knitting. I'm pretty excited about that. So once I get done the shawl, I think my big project that I work on will be my Turtle Dove, and then I can cast this one on. I'm pretty certain of it. So I thought I would bring that along today and share that with you. Introduce some new yarns to you in case you haven't heard of them or seen the colorways before. It's always fun. So yeah. Stash enhancement, I didn't bring anything with me. I did do a small order with Kathy, who has a yarn store in Cobourg, Ontario. It's called Yarn It. She posted on Instagram that she got in some new colorways for the comfort wool, which is a sock yarn. It is 75 superwash merino and 25 polyamide, which is like it's like a nylon of sorts, and it's in the marled kind of zebra effect. And like I said, the teal one is going to be my first pair of socks that I've knit in like the zebra effect. So this one is like marled, but I'm super excited about it. So I got this colorway, and the other one's there somewhere, but I got a green one, so I picked those two up and I'm excited. So Crazy Sock Lady, I think this is like a striping one. So Crazy Sock Lady Summer Sock Camp, I think this is going to be one of my cast-ons. I got her heel toe do-si-do socks, which has this really cool panel down the front of the sock. I've been wanting to do those forever, and it looks really good in like a self-striping yarn. So from the picture, I think that these should stripe up pretty well. It's gonna be really hard to see, but that's the way they're supposed to knit up. So it might work, it might not. If it don't work, then I have some Knit Picks Felici also in my stash that is striping, so I might use that. But either way, I have self-striping and I want to knit the heel toe do-si-do socks. Been wanting to do them forever, and it's time to do it. So I think that'll be one of my patterns for summer sock camp. And of course, my summer sock camp will be on Magic Loop because that's my thing. So yeah. Other dream knitting or new cast-ons, nothing really. I want to concentrate on what I have on the go. I have to get my test knit done. Just working on socks. I don't have like solid plans yet for summer sock camp, but I do plan to knit another pair of baby socks. There is a baby coming in the family. I'm doing the crocheted blanket I shared on the last podcast. So I'm gonna do like a little set. So I got some yarn for that. So I'm gonna knit some sockies and probably a little cardigan or something. So that is future cast-ons, but yeah, just trying to stay focused with what I have on the go to get some of my projects down. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I guess this podcast did run rather long, which is a good thing because I've heard a lot of you like the longer podcasts. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. So I'm going to stop babbling and I'm going to get this edited and up, and I'm going to go catch up on some podcasts. So I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I hope the weather is nice and sunny where you are. And if that's your thing, of course, because some people don't like the heat or like the sun, but I just hope you have a really amazing weekend and a crafty one, and enjoy. So till next time, I will see you hopefully in 2 weeks. So bye.